Hi everyone, it's Katie from Momentum Church here in Anchorage, Alaska, and today I'm going to be talking about Jesus being brought before Herod. Once again, we have a scene where Jesus is being brought and you have his accusers basically taking things that he has said out of context and blaming him for things that would justify their desire to have him be put to death. So now we have Herod. And we're going to read from Luke chapter 23, starting at verse 6 and ending at verse 16. And it reads, "When Pilate heard this, he asked whether the man was Galilean. And when he learned that he belonged to Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him over to Herod, who was himself in Jerusalem at the time. When Herod saw Jesus, he was very glad, for he had long desired to see him, because he had heard about him, and he was hoping to see some sign done by him. So he questioned him at some length, but he made no answers. The chief priests and the scribes stood by, vehemently accusing him, and Herod with his soldiers treated him with contempt and mocked him. Then arraying him in splendid clothing, he sent him back to Pilate, and Herod and Pilate became friends with each other that very day, for before this they were been at enmity with each other. Pilate then called together the chief priests, the rulers, and the people, and said to them, 'You brought me this man as one who was misleading the people. And after examining him before you, behold, I did not find this man guilty of any of your charges against him. Neither did Herod, for he sent him back to us. Look, nothing deserving death has been done by him. I will therefore punish and release him.'" Now we're going to have another video that talks about Pilate. But today we're going to be focusing on Herod, and we're going to be focusing on how the chief priests, the scribes, basically the same council, was acting. Now, Herod is probably a familiar name if you have read any of the Gospels and you've read the Christmas story or the birth of Christ. The name Herod has popped up. Although it's not the same Herod that killed all those babies, it is the same family line. This family line is known to be very brutal, very cruel, very powerful family, right? This Herod that Jesus was brought before is the same Herod that had ordered for John the Baptist to be killed. What had happened was that John the Baptist was accusing Herodess, his now wife, and Herod in doing something really wrong. Because Herodess, I might be saying her name so wrong, divorced her husband, who was Herod's brother, in order to marry Herod, which under Levitical law is a no-go. And John the Baptist, being John the Baptist, of course, called them out on it. That made Herodess mad. And from that day, assumingly, she wanted vengeance. So here comes the party, and Herodess has her daughter dance before Herod, and Herod's pleased with the dance, and you can just imagine what kind of dance that may or may have not been. And Herod basically told the daughter, whatever you want. And of course, mother in the daughter's ear, I want the head of John the Baptist. And thus John the Baptist is killed. Many chapters after, Herod hears about Jesus performing all these miracles, and he gets worried. He's like, I thought I killed John the Baptist. Did he resurrect? And he had a desire to see Jesus. Now, we don't know if it was a desire to kill Jesus or it was a desire to simply see a miracle, because Herod just liked to be entertained as well. But in this instance, regardless of what the desire was, we see Herod just wanting Jesus to do a miracle. It kind of reminds me when the Pharisees were just, show me a miracle. Show me that you are the Messiah. Jesus wasn't going to perform for them. Jesus wasn't going to just do something out of the blue just cause to appease, because they weren't going to believe regardless, right? Their heart was already set on seeing him killed. But what's really interesting and what astonishes me, and when I was reading this, I was just like, wow, this is absolutely crazy. The way that the religious leaders were so stuck on killing him that they're willing to do whatever it took, even to the point of defending the lies that were speaking about him. Because the things that they were accusing Jesus of doing, he did not do. They took things that he said in his teachings in his instructions out of context and twisted it in whatever shape or form to get the leaders to justify their desire for him to be put to death. But what's really startling as well, Herod is known as an evil man. Pilate is known as an evil man. And these cruel, evil people still did not find Jesus being worthy of death. They found him as an innocent man. Pilate literally says that I did not find this man guilty of any of the charges that you have against him. Neither did Herod, for he sent him back to us. Look, nothing deserving death has been done by him. Can you imagine being so blinded by hate, so blinded by your own desire and intent to do wrong? Well, in our eyes, it was wrong. In their eyes, they probably thought they were doing something. That you cannot see what is happening before you. In my mind, if you have to twist something that much, clearly you're in the wrong. But of course, religious leaders do not see that at all. And I wonder oftentimes if we're ever been placed in a position where, whether it's out of pure ignorance or purely wanting to be so set in our ways, allowing our stubbornness to blind us from the truth, to blind us when we're in the wrong, or to blind us when we're supposed to do something that we're resisting to do, or not do something that we shouldn't do. Jesus is being treated so poorly and so badly. And he took every mocking, and we're going to see later every whip, every beating, every ounce of humiliation, degradation, inhumane torture for you and I. It's so evident Jesus' desire to fulfill the Father's will. Back in the garden, when he's like, not my will, but your will be done. Knowing this is what he was going to face. And at any moment, he could have been rescued. At any moment, he could have been taken out of a situation, and he still walked through it. So I pray that just one opens up your eyes, right? To what Jesus had to go through. But also, look at the characters of the story. As you're reading these things, look at all the characters. Because again, it's easy to be in a position where you can point fingers and be like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't really see. But I can tell you there's been countless times that I was so stubborn that I could not see what was in front of me. And so it's just a point of reflection. And we will be continuing to advance towards the cross. And it's about to get uglier from here. I love you guys, and see you next time.